Bitcoin gets an upgrade. It's called Taproot. What the heck is that? And what is it really all about? We're going to be talking about all that in today's video. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Crypto Wealth. I believe in cryptocurrency. I believe in this technology. And I believe this technology is the beginning of a technological financial revolution. If you agree with me, you're honored to be here early before the rest of the world truly understands it. Do me a favor and smash that like button. Hey, let's be honest with one another. A lot of people are in cryptocurrency because they found out that their neighbor's brother, uncle's, Bob's cousin was making money on Dogecoin or Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. Most people are here for the gains, but the technology is what actually matters when it comes to where the world's going. And being able to be here early, you don't have to jump into the latest yield farm or even have the best trading technique. Both are strategies that I love, but you don't have to necessarily be a part of that to be able to know that you're going to be able to earn an extraordinary amount of wealth just from the technology alone and being here early before everyone else. Taproot is extraordinary. It needed to happen, and you want to understand why it's occurring and what it's doing. As one of my viewers, I don't want you to be a low-level thinker when it comes to cryptocurrency. I want you to be aware. I want you to be knowledgeable enough to at least understand the cause and effect of what is happening in this space. So if you can appreciate that, do me a favor and smash that like button. Before we get started, if you love cryptocurrency and you love earning passive income, go down in the description, subscribe to our Crypto Passive Profits newsletter, click on the Linktree link and go right here, subscribe. Our free Crypto Passive Profits newsletter. So let's talk about this Bitcoin upgrade known as Taproot. This was news a couple of days ago. Let's talk about what is it exactly. So Taproot lock-in achieved. Bitcoin network set to activate the biggest upgrade in 4 years. I was here for the last upgrade, which was the block size, and that thing was a disaster. So this upgrade is happening, and it's going to be much smoother, and that's going to be very good for the entire ecosystem. The speedy trial lock-in period for Bitcoin network upgrade Taproot is now complete. Data from Taproot Watch details the lock-in has been achieved, and it was locked in at block height, blah blah blah. All it means is there's been consensus. The miners agree this is going to happen. Taproot is coming this November, as the web portal taproot.watch indicated. The Taproot upgrade is considered one of the largest upgrades in 4 years. Bitcoin protocol upgrade now set to activate in November. When it's activated, Taproot addresses will be able to leverage Schnorr signatures in contrast to Bitcoin's elliptic curve digital signature algorithm. See, this is the problem with cryptocurrency right now. Very few people can try to break this stuff down to simple mainstream understanding. And I'm working to do that on my channel, mainly because I don't comprehend a lot of this technical jargon as well. And I read through stuff and I spend a lot of time rereading it, looking at multiple sources, trying to wrap my mind around it. But I realize that the average viewer, the average enthusiast is not going to do that. So I want to be able to put out content on my channel that's going to be easily digestible and easily understood by the average non-tech person. So that's why I'm primarily putting this video together. Let's just get into what is Taproot. Obviously, it's just a name, right? But what did the name come from and what does it actually really do? So Taproot is really three things. There's something known as TapScript, Schnorr signatures, and Taproot. They're all collectively known under the upgrade name Taproot. So the real question is, what do they actually do? Taproot is designed, once it gets implemented in November, it's going to do a couple of major things. For the tech thing that it's going to do that doesn't really affect you and I, is this going to provide a little bit of technological infrastructure changes for developers, meaning some of the scripting is going to change. So it's going to be a little bit more versatile for developers to actually be able to develop on Bitcoin. They're actually working on some simple smart contract stuff. Most people don't know that. They think Ethereum is the only thing that can do smart contract. No, Bitcoin, you can also program on Bitcoin and with small scripts, and they basically have increased that ability just a little bit, make it a little bit simpler and a little bit easier for those that are developing in the Bitcoin space. But that doesn't affect you so much. It doesn't affect me yet. It may affect us going forward depending on what development takes place. So it may be interesting to watch that and to see where that goes. The other thing that it does that is really good for us is that it increases the scalability. Now the question is, how does it do this? I'm going to break all this down in a moment. It increases the scalability or improves the scalability. It's actually going to decrease transaction costs. It should decrease transaction costs and transaction speeds, my understanding, somewhere around about 20%. So that's a good thing. Should be able to see more transactions at lower cost. Anytime you see that in Bitcoin, that's a big positive. But the number one thing that Taproot is going to do is finally introduce some privacy features to Bitcoin. And this is a really big deal. And you've got to ask yourself, as someone in crypto, someone who's a bit of a privacy enthusiast, why has this not been implemented earlier? Privacy is incredibly important. I'm going to show you how it introduces privacy, but a lot of people fall for the government propaganda that says, you know, if you don't have anything to hide, then why don't you let us track everything that you're doing? No, the government doesn't say that. Corporate propagandists and government propagandists say, oh, there's nothing to worry about. We're doing it to protect you. We're doing it to help you. The truth is, once that information's out there, you can't get it back. The right to privacy is important for every free society, for its citizens to be able to have the right to privacy. Without the right to privacy, it's very difficult to mount political opposition. You can easily, like in China, Chinese political opposition can easily be squashed by simply peering in on their privacy, getting into their private details, being able to talk about, you know, oh, we see you were cheating on your wife. So if you continue to come against us, we're going to leak that to the public. We're going to leak that to your wife. Or worse, being able to threaten someone. You know, we know where you live. We know what you're doing. We know that you're the one online putting these messages out there. So the right to privacy is important long term to be able to maintain a free and open society. And this includes economic privacy. All right, I'll get off the privacy soapbox. Enough about that. But how does Taproot create or introduce privacy? What does it look like? All right, so you know I drew one of my now almost world famous MS Paint type drawings for you. So basically, the top drawing, let me put a line up here. This top drawing up here is sort of a very simple depiction of how a Bitcoin transaction may occur right now. Basically, you know, you have an address and you send a transaction, and when you send that transaction, it comes to your wallet. You can see where it came from. You can see exactly what the transaction is, the value of the transaction, what all's there. You can see that. That's how currently, without Taproot, this is what a transaction looks like. It's very simple. But Taproot is going to be able to allow to create something known as multi-signature transactions, which can occur in Bitcoin now. They would just occur. Basically, you'd have another transaction right here and another transaction right here. It would come to this public wallet, and anyone could look on the blockchain and say, oh, these 3 transactions, which were all connected back here on the back end, this is a multi-signature transaction, and it went to this person at this wallet address, and this address tells us where it came from. What Taproot is going to allow you to do, or allow people to do in general, is to create multi-signature addresses and be able to hide them behind or put them behind another address. So when a transaction occurs at this level, from one address to the next address, it's going to occur just as simply as the previous transactions up here. But if someone's looking at it on the blockchain, they can see this, but they can't see any of this. So they don't know what this is all about. They don't know, you know, who this is or why these transactions were being made. That's incredibly important to be able to introduce that level of privacy. In my opinion, Taproot doesn't go quite far enough for a couple of reasons. Before I get there, let me just say this as well. As far as a user using the technology, it's going to work very much the same way. There's going to be a slightly different format for your wallet address, but as a user, you may not even notice that format change. So once you learn, oh, that's the, you know, I'm using this Taproot address, then you'll be able to use, everybody can use Taproot. Even for a simple transaction, you can use Taproot. And the reason that you should use it is because it helps provide privacy for the entire ecosystem. Because all of these transactions will look like simple transactions. So you want plenty of simple transactions in there. So Taproot doesn't go far enough. What am I talking about now? What do I mean? It doesn't go far enough because it's not by default. See, I believe that privacy in blockchain should be optional and default. Meaning that certain privacy-focused cryptocurrencies like Zcash has the ability to provide very good privacy, but it's not there by default. So most people don't switch it on. Therefore, very few people in the entire ecosystem, or very few transactions in the entire ecosystem, are actually being used in a way that is private or anonymous. And it actually hurts the anonymity of the entire ecosystem when there's not a lot of anonymous transactions. So I feel like Taproot should be default. However it gets implemented, I wish it could be compatible in such a way that every wallet was using it, and that it wasn't an option to like, oh, you got to change this to use it. Because I think the average brand new user is just going to make a typical transaction. They don't know if they're using a SegWit address, if they're using Taproot address. They're not really going to know. And I think the more people that are using the privacy features, the better off we all are. The other reason I'll say that it doesn't go far enough is because unlike Monero and unlike Zcash, with Taproot, you're able to see these 2 addresses right here. On Monero and Zcash, you can't even see that at all. Like, you don't even know. And Monero's private by default. In fact, it's only private. So there is no ability to be like transparent if you wanted to on Monero. Well, you can't even tell someone's sending a transaction to who they're sending it to. In fact, there's not even a block explorer for Monero. It's almost comical how Monero works because it's so incredibly good. Taproot's not going to go that far. And look, that's okay. This Taproot integration is already going to be a very good move for privacy. Let me just say this about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in particular, and privacy. Anytime, I said this yesterday on one of my videos, anytime you see a news headline or you watch a video and someone says, oh, people are only using Bitcoin because of it's the dark web, it's illicit transaction, money laundering. Just know that 99.9% of the time up until now, that's been absolute garbage because there's been really no privacy on cryptocurrency. Anybody with a little bit of technical experience, meaning any government agency, any company, can figure out who the individual is that owned the wallet address if they use that wallet address very much at all. Bitcoin, up until this point, has not been anonymous at all. In fact, it's incredibly transparent. So when you hear people say, oh, people want to use crypto because it's, for illicit activity, that's not possible. Now, if they said they wanted to use Monero, that is possible. That is 100% possible. Monero is highly private by default. And I believe that it should be private by default. I think that's an awesome feature for Monero. And I'm glad that I don't hold any Monero. I don't own any Monero today, but I am thankful that there are people out there in that ecosystem developing just because they believe in the principles of privacy. I think that's incredible. There are people donating their life to that, and they're not getting anything in return. I mean, you've got to respect that. In the past, when you heard people say things like, oh, Bitcoin's only used because of it's private, or they only use it for illicit activities, they use it for money laundering, that was propaganda. Like, that was literally not true. The smartest people in the room, the people, those news agencies and news organizations that said that, the videos created by supposedly reputable academic sources, they have the resources to understand what they're saying is not true, and they're saying it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to be independent thinkers. We have to try to be self-aware of our own bias, and we have to try to be objective. And if you get anything from this channel, I hope you understand that my whole goal is to help you be more self-aware, more objective, and be able to look through the propaganda when it comes to cryptocurrency. Hopefully you appreciate that. And if you do, hopefully I've done enough to earn your subscribe. So smash that subscribe button, click the bell notification icon, and click all. Today we've talked about the Bitcoin upgrade Taproot. I've talked about why it's important to you. The main reason this is important to you is because of increased scalability, decreased transaction cost, and introduction of some privacy features. Decentralized cryptocurrency equals freedom. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.